There's that man again.
You know, I don't particularly like doing these types of videos where it seems like I'm trashing the fragrance or something like that. But I have to be truthful no matter what. I try. Well, I don't try. I pride myself on having integrity when I'm speaking about fragrances and things of that nature. And I always want to be real when I'm speaking to you guys. And a couple of you guys have asked me to look into this specific house. And I did. I bought 3 fragrances and I'm about to share my opinion. So stay tuned. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Teddy Files. I am your resident sommelier, Mr. Diaz Teddy, and today we are talking about the house of Anfar. So, a couple of people reached out to me and asked me, have I, smelled anything from them? And that was maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And I said no. I hadn't tried anything. I did have them on my radar, but I have a specific list that I purchase from, and sometimes on my list some things may get bumped back, and most of the Anfar fragrances were getting bumped back because there were other things that I wanted to get first. So I found a little bit of a gap in between my purchasing, and I said, you know what, this might be the great time to get my hands on 3 of the Anfar fragrances. And one of them I'm not going to be speaking about in the video because, believe it or not, it was a little bit more feminine, and Mrs. Grizz loves it. And I will tell you guys about what fragrance it is towards the end of the video. But she loves it. It smells amazing on her skin. Did not work for me, of course, like I said, because it was very feminine. But it's not a bad fragrance. Now, the 2 that I did have for myself were the fragrance Date Night, and the other one is called, I believe, Retro Woods. And so the first one I want to talk about is this one, and that will be, this is the one called Date Night. And so this is what the presentation looks like. Okay, and this is like a coffin opening, and this is how your fragrance sits, and this thing jumps all over the place. So not a bad looking bottle, but you can kind of tell exactly who they were trying to, well, not trying to, who they copied. They definitely copied Club de Nuit on this one. But so let's pull a bottle out of here. And it is not a bad looking presentation. I mean, this is a pretty good looking bottle. It's a pretty handsome looking bottle. It looks like something that, might be good for date night. It looks like it. Now, the way a bottle looks has zero to do with the smell. Okay, zero to do with what you're going to smell when you put this thing on your skin. And one of the things that I've always tried to do is, even when it was hard, I still try to find whatever fragrance notes that I can, when I can, with some of these things. And this one was a chore because I had to hunt for this one because neither one of these 2 are on Fragrantica or Parfumo or anything like that. So I had to go hunt for the notes and things of that nature, but I did find them. And number one, because I almost forgot, Joma Shop actually puts the notes of fragrances up there as well. So I actually found the notes for this one on Joma Shop. So let me give you these notes real quick. So this is why I was intrigued. So the top notes are blood orange and mandarin. The heart notes are tonka bean and ambroxan. And the base notes are pomelo and grapefruit. So I'm thinking we're going to have a beautiful citrusy summertime fragrance that's going to be amazing for date night and, spending time hanging out, things of that nature. But, excuse me, what I got is nothing like what I expected. So I won't be spraying this because I sprayed it twice now. I've given it 2 shots, but how can I? So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be real. This smells like the cheapest oil you could possibly get and put in the fragrance. Now these were $35 a pop, which is not a lot, but I have gotten very, very quality fragrances for $30 and under, and at least $40 to $50 sub range. And to pay $35 for something that smells like they just didn't give a damn. It was like, let's just put something out and let's see what happens. And so I'm not sure how many people have this. I'm getting rid of it. I don't want it in my collection. I will not wear it. I put it on a strip, of course, and you smell it on a strip. It's just, like I said, it just smells like very cheap, non-quality oils. So what I normally do, what I've always done, I put it on my skin. And when I put it on my skin, it smelled worse. And it did not get any better on my skin than it was on the strip. It literally took on the same characteristics. As a matter of fact, no, I believe it got even more chemical. It even smelled more, it just smelled less quality, a lot less quality on my skin. And I know my skin is quality, damn it. I take care of myself. So it's got to be this thing right here. And it's sad because, you know, there may be someone out here that likes this fragrance. And if you do, then you know what, more power to you. It works for you, it works for you. But for me, I've been smelling and talking about and using fragrances long enough to know when something is low quality. And in my opinion, this is very low quality. And for $35, yeah, I'm not happy that I spent that on this. Now, so like I said, all is not lost. The one that I bought from Mrs. Grizz, who I bought initially for myself, that Mrs. Grizz loves, she wore it today. She's wore it before. It smells great. I believe it's supposed to be an afternoon swim cologne. That is not, it's not that at all. But what it does do, it does well. And like I said, I'll be talking about that a little bit more at the end of this video. But for Anfar London Date Night, yeah, if I have to give it a grade, it's a 0 for me, man. Like, and honestly, that is, if I have to give it from 1 to 10, it's gonna be 1, maybe -1, half 1. I'm not sure, but this ain't it for me, man. This one is not it for me. So, like I said, to people that do like this fragrance, hey, look, this isn't a personal shot at you. Maybe it works for you, but for me, honestly, I've had better fragrances that cost about $10, $15, $13 than I've spent $35 for this and got something that this low quality. Yeah, I'm not happy about this purchase. So yeah, Anfar London Date Night, that's a -1 for me. So the next fragrance that I got coming up is the one I was a little bit more excited to get my hands on because I didn't want to judge the entire house. Like I said, the other one, the one that Mrs. Grizz likes, it's called, I think, Bateig Azul, and it's in a blue. It's like a oceanic blue bottle. I'll put a picture of it up here on the screen so you guys can see it. But it's really good, ladies. That would be a pretty good purchase for you if there's something you want, something nice, fresh and light for the and floral, very floral for the summertime. That's not going to be overbearing. That's actually a pretty good purchase. So that's why I was excited about getting this other one, because I said, okay, there are a lot of fragrance houses that have duds. Everybody's not going to like everything. In my opinion, was this a dud? Yeah, it could be a dud. Let me go ahead and see what else they have. So then I scoured around a little bit to see what they had. They actually have other fragrances in that bottle style, but I said, let me move away from that and see what other things that they have. So I looked at the other one that supposedly smells like a Ventus, but I was like, I don't want another fragrance to smell like a Ventus. I have enough Ventus clones and Ventus and all that other stuff. I don't need that. So I said, I want to try something completely off the beaten path. And then when I saw this one that I'm going to pull up right now, I was interested, but I also see that they tend to take their inspiration from clone brands already. You can pretty much see who they're copying here, man. And if you think it's just a fluke, yeah, it ain't no fluke. So this is Retro Woods by Anfar London. So, Retro Wood, when I saw the notes on Retro Wood, I became instantly intrigued because the notes that I saw were, once again, right up my alley. It was, I wanted something a little bit more masculine, a little bit more manly, nice and woodsy. And you're going to think, hey, if I'm going to get a fragrance called Retro Wood, that's going to be nice, manly, maybe a little bit smoky. And then I happened to take a look. I went out and I found the fragrance notes for this one. And let me tell you what these notes say. Now, you got your top notes of some ginger, saffron, nutmeg, and lavender. So right off the top, it has a little bit of brightness, a little bit of soapiness. Your middle notes of agarwood and patchouli. And your base notes of more agarwood, musk, and bergamot. So I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be manly right here. This one right here, this is going to be the one. I'm going to give it a glowing review. It's going to be amazing. And I said, I can't wait to get it on my skin. So as soon as I got it in, I sprayed it. I said, let me go ahead and spray it. And when I sprayed it on, it kind of reminded me of a very, very cheap imitation of oud wood. Very cheap imitation. But of course, it's a $35 fragrance. It's not going to be oud wood. You know, it's going to be a copy or a clone or some rendition of oud wood. And I said, okay, let me give it a moment. Let me give it a second. And of course, it's Middle Eastern. So sometimes Middle Eastern fragrances, they have an air about them that you kind of get past to get to the other part of the fragrance. A lot of them do. Some of them are a lot better quality made, and you don't really have to jump that threshold. But many of them have that Middle Eastern feel, that Middle Eastern air that, you know, some enjoy, some of us don't. I'm not one that enjoys the Middle Eastern air of it's just a different smell, man. It's hard for me to describe it. But what I'll say about this one, when I first sprayed it on, and like I said, it went on, had a hint or a oud wood adjacent smell to it. But then as it started to dry down, here comes that chemical mixture mess again that I smelled in the last fragrance. And I'm thinking, what the hell, man? Come on, man. There's no way it's going to be two. And then when it finally dried all the way down, it smelled like baby powder to me. And I'm talking about on skin, not on strip, on skin. I put this on my skin and it smelled like the most pungent. And first of all, baby powder is not pungent. We've smelled it. Many of us have been around babies. We got babies. We smell baby powder. This was the most pungent smell of baby powder I've smelled. And I've never really smelled baby powder on a fragrance. But this one here, especially when that's not what you're expecting from something that's called Retro Woods. You're expecting an old school, just manly, rough and tumble, man's fragrance. That's what I was looking for. That is not what I got. Now, maybe someone could appreciate, maybe somebody wants to smell like heavy baby powder. I don't smell like no damn baby powder. I want to smell manly, especially if I pick up something called Retro Wood. And will I say it smells bad? To me, it does. I'm not going to pull punches. I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to trash the brand. In all honesty, I probably won't be buying anything else from them because if I'm going to spend $35 on a fragrance, I have so many other fragrances here that cost $35 and below and $35 and above that I could spend my money on and actually wear it. I'll never wear this. So I'm going to end up giving both of these away. Maybe someone else will like them. I'll let them test it, smell it, see if they like it. If they like it, here you go. Just go ahead and take it. Get out of here. But as for me, once again, what if I have to give a grade? Another -1, man. This is so disappointing. I am extremely disappointed because I really wanted to get on here and say, look, I discovered this amazing fragrance from this company called Anfar, because I've heard other people talk great about some of their fragrances, like especially the one that's supposed to smell like Creativentus. Like I said, I don't want to jump on that one because I have other ones that I've talked about that smell like Creativentus. I wanted to do something completely different. Well, I guess that shows me, because yeah, this here, this ain't it, man. And it's a great looking bottle. I mean, we know what it looks like. We know what you're copying, but you ain't copying the smell. You ain't copying the quality. So Anfar, maybe you do have better fragrances than these two, and maybe I just picked the two duds because you have two other fragrances in the wood line. I'm not buying them. I know you have at least a couple of more fragrances in the line that have this box. I'm not buying them. So you guys buy at your own risk. It's $35, so it's not like a heavy risk, but like I said, for me, if I'm going to spend $35 on something, and I do a lot of blind buying, I blind buy a lot of the stuff in my collection. These are just two misses. It happens. I've had misses before. I've never had this many misses in the same house. There's only two, but two is all I need. I'm good on these. So that's my review of the House of Anfar. Like I said, so I got one gem. Like I said, I'll put it picture up here so you guys can see the one that Mrs. Grizz likes. So ladies, if you want to get your hands on this one, this might be a really good option for you because it smells wonderful on her. But these two, guys, if you like them, more power to you. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with you. Maybe it's just they don't work on me. But in my opinion, they're very low quality. And they were not worth the $35 that I spent on it. So, hey man, that's the video. I wish I could have been a little bit more positive, I guess, upbeat. But I have to be real, I have to be honest, and I have to be truthful. And so far, the House of Anfar has not impressed me. I am not impressed. Like I said, I won't be buying anything else from them. So, but this will more than likely be the last review that I do on any of their fragrances, unless they send something and wow me. And they gotta wow me, because if they send something and it smells like these, I'm gonna give the same review. It doesn't matter if you send it to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this content because it helps the channel to grow. Make sure you hit the bell icon to get notified each and every time I upload a video, because my name is Mr. Diaz Teddy, your fragrance sommelier. And over here we don't do stink, so please don't be a stink ass, especially not with cheap fragrances. Have a good one.